There's a saying, no brakes, that resonates deeply in my life, capturing the essence of both a vehicle and a person. This phrase holds a poignant duality in my narrative, for it represents both the literal absence of brakes in a tragic incident and the metaphorical lack of restraint in my relationship with my wife, Meline. Tragically, it's this very absence that caused both Meline and her car to be taken from me forever. My life has always revolved around three passions: fishing, hunting, and cars. These interests are not just hobbies. They are the pillars that support my existence, and I cherish them above nearly everything else. Luckily, I am not alone in these pursuits. I share these passions with a close-knit group of friends, Samuel, Nathan, and Nicholas. Together, we embark on adventures into the wilderness, intentionally seeking out the most challenging and muddy terrains to push our vehicles to their limits. The thrill of the hunt or the tranquility of fishing provides us with a unique bond that is hard to replicate. I first met Meline just over 3 years ago when she joined the driving school where I worked as an instructor. From the moment she stepped into the training car for her first lesson, I was captivated by her striking features and graceful presence. Despite the 5-year age difference between us, I found myself eagerly looking forward to our lessons. Meline picked up driving skills quickly. I could see her determination and intelligence shining through. It was only a matter of time before she would pass her driving test, and I knew I wanted to be part of her life outside of the classroom. One day, I summoned the courage to ask her out, and to my delight, she smiled warmly and agreed. That marked the beginning of a beautiful relationship. A year later, we exchanged vows in a joyous wedding ceremony surrounded by laughter and love. Naturally, I invited my closest friends, Samuel, Nathan, and Nicholas, who had supported me through thick and thin. Nicholas stood by my side as my best man, a pillar of support on what should have been one of the happiest days of my life. However, in the years that followed, my life changed in ways I hadn't anticipated. Looking back now, I realize that I may have rushed into marriage, driven by infatuation, rather than a clear understanding of our compatibility. Our relationship became strained as I began to notice a pattern. Before each trip I planned with my friends, there were always disagreements. Meline would often say, "Honey, I'm going out with the girls for a bit. I won't be long. I can't stand being cooped up at home." I would push back, reminding her that her nights out often ended with her returning home intoxicated and causing scenes that disrupted our peace. We were childless, not due to an inability to have children, but because Meline preferred it that way. She understood my feelings on the matter, yet it never deterred her from her choices. The following day, she would casually announce her plans to go out again, brushing off any objections I raised. I trusted her completely, never suspecting that she might betray me. Yet every time she returned home reeking of alcohol, she would suggest that we needed a new car because the current one felt too cramped. Although I had contemplated upgrading our vehicle, the associated expenses always made me hesitate. As time went on, our arguments became more frequent and intense. Meline started disappearing multiple times a week, only to return and reignite our conflicts. I began to contemplate divorce. Despite her youth and the love I once felt, my emotions had shifted towards disdain. I had always envisioned a family, a warm, loving home filled with the laughter of children, but instead, I felt trapped in a relationship marred by betrayal. It seemed that divorce was my only escape. Then, late in July, Meline vanished once more, claiming she was out with friends. However, that night, her so-called friends were nowhere to be found. Days passed without any sign of her. She didn't turn up in any hospitals, nor did she appear in a morgue. After 3 agonizing days, I made the excruciating decision to contact the police. The search quickly escalated, with law enforcement and volunteers joining the effort. A week later, they discovered her car submerged at the bottom of a river, and inside were 2 bodies. My wife wasn't alone. Nicholas, my former friend and best man, was with her. Strangely, both were naked and covered in blood. An autopsy confirmed my worst fears. Alcohol was present in their systems. As the investigation unfolded, the tragic truth emerged. They had parked at the edge of a cliff by the river, lost in the moment and oblivious to their surroundings. Yet they made a critical error. Neither had engaged the handbrake. In their drunken state, the car began to roll. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The vehicle plunged into the deep water, sinking rapidly. Neither had a chance to react, escape, or fight against the relentless current before it consumed them entirely. Just like that, my marriage was over. Do I feel sorry for Meline? Perhaps a part of me does. But more than anything, I hope this isn't the last time I can believe in love. The loss is profound, and the sense of betrayal is hard to reconcile. But the memories of what we once shared linger, reminding me of the complexity of human relationships and the fragility of life.